morning, everybody. So, let's get started. Now I'm going to show these percents maybe a little bit differently than you learned them in middle school, or maybe similar. I'm not sure how your 7th grade teacher taught you, but these are very similar questions to what I would teach with my 7th graders. You might think like, why are we doing a 7th grade lesson, Mrs. Sadler? Well, it's going to play a really big role in our next lesson when we're talking about exponential growth and decay. So if you understand today's lesson pretty well, then Thursday's lesson is going to be pretty easy. So let's get started. Exercise 1, Jonathan is going to get a raise from $12.50 per hour to $14.75 per hour. His supervisor, Michaela, got a raise from $22 per hour to $25.30 per hour. How much, in terms of dollars per hour, is Jonathan's salary going up? Dylan Shu, I can't stand now, but I'll watch. Yeah, that's fine, Dylan. You don't have to watch it live. It'll be on here, and it'll be on YouTube later this afternoon/evening. Hello, Andrew. Also, before I get too deep, so you guys have to do those weekly check-ins with me now. I will count Twitch as a weekly check-in, as well as email or Zoom. So you can pick one of those 3 options to do your check-ins with me. So if you want this to count as your check-in, just let me know. Comment below like, hey, I'm checking in. I'm alive. Yay. And we're all good. So how much, in terms of dollars per hour, is John's salary going up? Well, he started at $12.50. Now he's at $14.75. So all we're going to do is subtract those. And we get a total of $2.25 he's going up, which is quite a bit an hour. I'll just copy paste. Okay, that works. So by what percent is it going up? So this is where it gets interesting. Well, for me, percent is really doing like part over whole. And then scaling it to be a percentage, so times 100%. So the part that we're dealing with here is 2.25. The whole, or the original, in this case is going to be the $12.50 that he was making. And then whatever that decimal is, we're going to multiply it by 100%. Or you can just type the whole thing in at once. In your calculator, obviously, you're not going to type in the percent symbol. You're just going to type in 100 to move that decimal over 2 places. When we do that, when the dust settles, we should get 18%. So he's getting an 18% increase. That is like huge. Not a lot of people get raises that significant. All right, so let's check out what's going on with his boss. It says, who received a larger increase in salary in terms of dollars per hour? Well, the boss started at 22 and is now at 25.30. So we're just going to subtract those. Excuse me. So she got a raise of $3.30 per hour. So technically, Michaela earned more. So Michaela is earning more dollars per hour there. But we think about the percent increase. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. So for her, we're still going to do that part over whole. So we're going to do her increase divided by what she was originally making. So the $22. And we will multiply that by 100% to see what her increase is. So if we type that all in, when the dust settles, we actually get, we get a 15% increase for her. So technically John had a higher percent raise. So even though she got more cash money, percentage-wise, he actually is doing better. And when you're getting raises and salaries and such, you really want to go off percentages that'll make you grow a little bit nicer, especially as you start making more and more money. All right. So hopefully that looks familiar so far. So the big thing up here, let me highlight it, is that part over whole times 100%. And sometimes if you're given 2 amounts, you're not sure what the whole should be, what that denominator should be, that's going to be like the original. So the original amount of money in this case that both of them made. Okay. Let's try another one. So Gabe is buying a pair of jeans at a local store that are priced at $45. He knows that the county he lives in has an 8% sales tax onto the listing price. If Gabe has a gift card for $50, will it cover the cost of the jeans and the tax? So there's a couple of different ways that you can calculate how much he's totally going to spend. I like to kind of do a shortcut, so to say. So when we're dealing with percentages, you want to think of 100% as like the original cost of the item. So 100%, we're going to say that's the OG cost of, what are these, jeans? Yes. So 100% is the original cost. He has to spend at least $45, but now we have to scale that because now he's going to have 8% that he has to pay in tax. Bummer, but that's life. So we're going to increase that by 8%. This is our tax. So what's really happening here is he has to spend, 108% total of the cost of the jeans. So we have to do 108% of $45. Well, anything over 100% is an increase, something more that you have to pay. So if we go back to what we were doing in middle school, that's a sketchy of whatever. If I want to multiply a percent by a number, I have to move that decimal over twice. So I'm really going to be multiplying. I'm going to have 1.08 of means to multiply by 45. The cost of the pants. So if we do this correctly, we will get something that is more than $45. So let's see, 1.08 times 45, and we get $48.60. So that's how much he's going to spend with tax. Now, some of you might have done this a different way. You might think, let's do 8% of 45 and then add that on, but that's 2 steps, and I don't want to do 2 steps. I want to do 1 step. So, but it's a valid method. So if he was given $50, then yes, he has enough money. Let's see, let's try another one. The population of deer in Forest Preserve predicted to decline by 5%. So now we're going down. We're going to be getting an answer that's smaller. The current population is 560. What population is predicted for the next year? So with declining, decreasing, or like discounts, we still start with that 100%. That's the OG, the original, in this case, deer population. But if I'm declining by 5%, I'm going to subtract off the 5%. So that's the decline. So I'm really left with 95% of the population. So we want to do 95% of, what was it, 560. So just like above, we're going to move that decimal over twice. So I'm going to do 0.95 of means times. So times 560. And let's see what we get. 560 times 0.95. And we get 532 deer. So our prediction is 532 deer will be left. Maybe I was there. I was hunting. Who knows? So the main part with these problems is we always start with 100%. If we're increasing, which a tax was an increase, you add. And if you're declining, you subtract. But we always start with that 100%. Always, always, always. Okay. Now, some people will solve these with proportions. For what we're going to be doing next class, I just don't want to do that. This will make a little bit more sense. Plus, it's faster. You know me, I'm lazy. I like the faster route. So it says, consider the following problem. Let's say I want to leave a 15% tip on a meal that costs $35. And I'm not going to set up a ratio. I'm just going to say find the tip. So actually, I'm not even going to do part A. I'm just going to do part B. Because for what we need, this is the easier route. So if I'm leaving a tip, you got to think, is that extra money I'm going to have to pay or less money that I'm going to have to pay? Well, if I'm leaving a tip, that's more money that I have to pay. So we're starting with my 100%. And if it's an increase, I'm going to be adding on, what percent was it? That 15% tip. So the OG, the tip. So we're really talking about 115% of the cost of the meal. So we are doing 115% of the $35 meal. Just like the previous problem, sorry, I'm like trying to work around this microphone. We're going to move that decimal over twice. So I really have 1.15 of means times. So times $35. And let's see what we get. 1.15 times 35. We get $40.25 is my total cost that I'm going to have to pay. Total to pay. Okay. And I guess I changed the wording of this question. I wanted to find the cost of the meal. My pen froze. Here we go. Find the cost of the meal. Okay. So now you might be thinking, like, I'm still writing a lot of work. Well, if you wanted to know what I minimally needed to show for these kind of problems, I really just need this last step. Oops, that's not the highlighter, is it? No, siree, Bob, it's not. So really, if you want to know the minimum amount of work I would want, it's this step right here. Taking your new percentage, multiplying it, answer, bam. That's really all that I need. That is all that I need. So let's just practice doing some multiplying. So I'm going to scooch down to exercise 5. And I'm not going to do all of these. I'm just going to write a couple of them. So 20% of 85. So these are really making sure that we know that we've got to move our decimal over twice. So I'm going to have 0.20 of means times and then 85. So there we get 17. And then 12%, we got to move again our decimal over twice. We get 0.12 of means to multiply times 200. So we get 24. So nothing too shabby right there. Let's do, I like example F. So example F's interesting because we have a mixed number as a percent. So we really have, a quarter is just 0.25. So we really have 0.25% of 350. I still need to move my decimal over twice, but here I have a blank spot, so I'm going to put a 0 placeholder here. So we really have, hold on, it's messy. There we go. We're really going to have 0.0225 times 350. And that is going to equal 7.875. So no matter what, we're still moving our decimal place over twice and multiplying. Now I'm going to give you a question. Actually, no. I like where I'm stopping off there. So I'm going to stop there for today. Your homework is on the following page. You don't have to do both pages. I just want you to do this front page 1 through 4. So numbers 1 through 4. And let's see, it might change some of their directions. I do not care for you to set up a ratio. Okay, I do want you to look at exercises 1 and 3, but I do not want you to set up a ratio. I just want you to straight up do the multiplication. So that's for number 1. Number 2 is good. Number 3, you're just doing the straight up multiplication. And actually, sorry. I'm just going to do 1 through 3. We'll do 1 through 3. So not number 4. And we'll do number 5. Yep. We'll do 1 through 3 and 5. Okay, so I'll change that in teams, but those are the numbers that I want you to do. I don't want you to do proportions. I just want you to do the straight up multiplication. So look at those examples that we did do. And, you know, come in on my Zoom office hours if you need any help, or Mr. Van Remen's office hours if you need any help. And if you don't have the capability to print out this homework, that's fine. Just write it on a separate sheet of paper and email it to me. Easy peasy, just like that. So I hope you have a fabulous day. And we will be going live again on Thursday at 11:15. Bye.